Another element to it. We have no right being down there. Cuba's not our country.
Correct.
You know,
That's where I just
the other part of this is that what it's going on what now 20 almost what 20 years down there.
yes.
So you said $500 million. So that's $10 billion we spent.
Yeah.
$10 billion as the infrastructure of this country is rotting away. And again, this is barely any news at all. And an interesting fact in here, by the way, right in your first paragraph, you say this guy Nashiri was a Saudi.
Yes.
Yeah,
where did he get the money? And where did he get the explosives sufficient to blow a hole the size of a baseball diamond in the side of an American ship? Where did he get that from? Well, we can guess, and it would be an educated guess where he got it from. The same creeps that Joe Biden is about to meet with in the next couple of weeks. Not the same human beings. This character that runs the Saudi government was a child at the time, but the same culture, the same family, the same group, the same people that dispatched 19 murderers to take down the World Trade Center and attack the Pentagon. And they're still our friends. The same people that slaughtered Khashoggi, the reporter for the Washington Post, cut him up into pieces while they played classical music in the background, and they're still our friends.
Again, that's why I pointed it out. You know, how come they, you know, what was it allegedly, 15 of the 19 people on those planes were Saudis on 9/11, as the story goes?
I think it was 19 of the 20, and the 20th, of course.
Anyway, how come we invaded Afghanistan and not Saudi Arabia? The hypocrisy, the sickness. And that's what this article is really brings it down to. You know, what kind of country are we living in and how sad it's become?
The government recognizes no limitation on its power. If this government can torture a human being and then boast about it, it recognizes no limitation on its power as long as it can get away with it politically.
And they're getting away with it.
Government without limitation is the most dangerous thing on the planet.
And that's what we have.
Yes. It's not just bloody Gina. She couldn't have done this alone. It's the whole culture.
The whole culture
of the CIA and the Department of Defense and Department of State, and with some exceptions, the White House.
And again, the CIA with that guy, that murderer, Harry Truman, I love Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Let's drop atom bombs on him. He's the one that brought us the CIA, right?
Yeah, yes, he is. The National Security Act of 1947, which of course forbade the CIA from doing anything in the United States or being involved with law enforcement. We now know from former governors of states in the U.S., I won't mention their names, that the CIA is present in every state house in the United States. And we know, thanks to a very ill-advised executive order of Ronald Reagan, which supposedly was aimed at stopping drugs from coming in from Mexico, that the CIA engages in surveillance and drug interdiction inside the U.S. So they all automatically violated their charter. And as for Harry Truman, I get in trouble when I say this. I don't care. If you measure the number of deaths per second, he's the greatest mass murderer in the history of the world.
Yeah.
By dropping those atomic bombs, the first of which was aimed at a Roman Catholic basilica on a Sunday.
And again, look what probably, you know, countless billions we do to spend on so-called intelligence, or trillions, I should say by now. And what have they brought us? Tell me the great CIA. We got them before it happened.
I'll tell you what they brought us. Hatred around the world. People wanting to kill Americans and destroy us because of what the CIA has done to them. That's what they brought us. You know, JFK had his brains blown out within a few months of saying, I'm gonna shut down the CIA and scatter its assets to the four corners of the world. It's a government within a government, and it has no accountability. And you mentioned how much money they've spent. We'll never know how much money they've spent, even though the Constitution, you and I have talked about this, my dear friend, even though the Constitution says all expenditures of the federal government shall be recorded in a public register. Go try and find that register. Go try and look up what the intelligence community spends. You can't find it. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. And every single one of them took, from Bloody Gina and Mike Pompeo on down, took an oath to uphold it.
You know, and again, what you're writing about, we're talking about, the people have no idea what's going on. I mean, nobody knows what you're just saying here. You know, maybe, you know, out of the whole country of 332 million, maybe 1,000, you know, 10,000 people know this.
And it's sad that people don't care that these blatant violations of human rights and of the Constitution go on over and over and over again. And the government gets bigger, fatter, more bankrupt, and more secret every day.
The people would care if they made an issue of it. Like when you go to the Ukraine war, it's day after day, picture after picture in all of the media, on TV, everywhere, but not with the Iraq war, not with the Afghan war, not with the Libyan war, not with the Yemen war, none of those. We won't show anything. So if the people were tuned into this, they'd say, wow, just like, look what they're being tuned into now. The big news, January 6th, 2020.
That's what we're going to be deluged with in the next couple of weeks, starting tonight, where every network except Fox, one of the Fox networks, I think the Fox Business is covering it, but Fox News, which is the vastly larger of the two, is going to go with its normal programming. But everybody else is covering it. So you go to CBS, not only is CBS television covering it, but CBS radio is covering it. I think they're even preempting the Mets here in the New York City area to cover this stuff.
And what do you think the outcome of this is going to be?
I think they're going to make a criminal referral against former President Trump to the DOJ, and then it'll be up to Merrick Garland to decide what he wants to do. Does he want us to look like a banana republic where the Justice Department prosecutes a former president, or is there real evidence of crimes here? Is this a political stunt by the Democrats to give them a boost in the November midterms, which they're widely expected to lose? Or are they seriously performing a service to the American public by revealing a serious effort to overthrow the government? I mean, I don't know how the American public is going to accept it one way or the other.
Yeah, this is, again, all the attention is going to be put on this, and the people have no idea the real things going on affecting their lives. You know, just like we heard for how many months, you know, Amber Heard, or we never heard of before, and Johnny Depp. Is showing the stupidity of what these people are doing, and how this should be what you just wrote about Bloody Gina and a team of torturers, to see where America's gone, where it's going, and how bad it's become, and all our loss of our constitutional rights and our human privileges.
You know, if we had the ability, Gerald, I would say take one of those young people that works for you, give them a camera and a microphone, and just go out in the streets and ask them, do you know who Johnny Depp is? Do you know who Bloody Gina is? You know what the answers are going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. 100-0.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, Judge, thanks so much. And again, it's so sad what's going on here. And I'm very concerned about the future of our country. But the good news is people like you, me, and Scott Ritter, and Phil Giraldi, and McGregor, and Paul Craig Roberts, a number of us are fighting for freedom. Peace and Justice, Ron Paul, one after another, Massey down in Kentucky. And on, everybody, July 23rd of this year, up here in Kingston, New York, on the Four Corners of Freedom, we're going to have a Peace and Freedom Festival. And Judge Napolitano is going to be the speaker there to bring it all together. We're going to have, great bands, music, food, and, drinks, entertainment. And so please come here we're going to start at 2 p.m., July 23rd, on the Four Corners of Freedom, John and Crown Street, the only place in America where there are pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings on each corner. And the seeds of democracy was sown here. Over 70% of America's Constitution comes from the Constitution that was written right over here. I can almost throw a rock and hit the building where John Jay, the Supreme Court judge, was a judge over here. And when New York was the first Kingston was the capital of New York, the first capital before the British burnt it down, that's where the Constitution was written. So we're bringing freedom back.
And so that's where I believe Chief Justice John Jay's remains are still interred.
Yep. And so the judge is going to be there, and you're going to want to be here too. Again, we're going to be putting it up on the Occupy Peace site in just a few days, but keep it in your head. And thanks, Judge. We'll see you next week.
Pleasure, Gerald.